progress report says we are at stage 6, paragraph page 418. Okay, and our last head word was strange, new word type of lesson. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's start with revision. Ready?
Okay.
Here we go. First question. How do we form the possessive case of singular nouns like girl, man, child, etc.? How do we form the possessive case of singular nouns like girl, man, child, etc.? We form the
We form
possessive case
possessive
of
case
singular
of
nouns like
singular
girl,
nouns like
man,
girl,
child,
man,
etc.
child,
by
etc.
adding an
by
apostrophe
adding an
and the letter
apostrophe
S.
and the letter S.
Greg, give me some example. Give me some examples, please. The girl's coat,
The girl's
the
coat,
old man's
the
hat,
old man's
a
hat,
child's book.
a child book.
Very good. How do we form the possessive case of plural nouns that do not end in S, such as men, women, children, etc.? How do we form the possessive case of plural nouns that do not end in S, such as men, women, children, etc.? We form the
We
possessive
form
case
the
of
possessive
plural
case
nouns
of a
that
plural
do not
noun
end in
that do
S,
not end
such
in
as
s,
men,
such as
women,
men,
children,
women,
etc.,
children,
in the
etc.,
same way
in the
by
same
adding
way
an
by
apostrophe
adding an
and the letter
apostrophe and
S.
the letter
Well,
s.
give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. The old man's
The old
hats,
man's hat,
children's books,
children's book,
women's clothes.
women's clothes.
Very good. How do we form the possessive case of plural noun which already ends in S? How do we form the possessive case of plural nouns that already ends in S? We form
We
the
form
possessive
the
case of
possessive
plural
case
nouns
of plural
that
nouns
already
that
end in
already
S
end in s
just by adding an
just by
apostrophe
adding an
but no
apostrophe but
S.
no s.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. The girl's
The
coats,
girls'
the
coats,
worker's
the
clothes,
workers' clothes,
ladies' dresses.
ladies' dresses.
Very good. What do footballer shirts have written on their backs? What do footballer shirts have written on their backs? Footballer
The
shirts have numbers
footballers just have
written
numbers
on their backs.
written on their backs.
Very good. What's he doing? What's he doing? He's kicking
He's kicking
the
the
ball.
ball.
Very good. Okay. Can the English coast be seen from the coast of France? Can the English coast be seen from the coast of France? Yes. On
Yes,
certain
on
days,
certain
the English
days,
coast
the English
can be
coast
seen from
can
the
be seen
coast of
from the
France.
coast of France.
Very good. Do you ever tire of speaking? Do you ever tire of speaking? Yes or no?
Yes,
I've
I
sometimes tired
sometimes
of
tired of
speaking.
speaking.
Very good. What would you do if you saw someone taking something from a shop without paying? What would you do if you saw someone taking something from a shop without paying? If I saw
If I
someone
saw
taking
someone
something from
taking
a shop
something from a
without
shop
paying,
without
I'd
paying, I'd tell a shop manager.
very good. What do people normally do in situations like that? What do people normally do in situations like that? People normally
People
do nothing
normally do
in
nothing in
situation
such
like that.
situation like that.
Regular do police officers often find themselves in dangerous situations? Do police officers often find themselves in dangerous situations? Yes, police
Yes,
officers
police
often find
officers
themselves
often find
in
themselves
dangerous
in dangerous
situations.
situations.
Very good. What do you suppose happen if there were suddenly no water in the world? What do you suppose happen if there were suddenly no water in the world? I'm
If
sorry, I
eh,
suppose we'd all
I
die
suppose
of thirst,
we all die
of
of
thirst, if
thirst
there
if
were
there were
suddenly no
suddenly no
water in the
water
world.
in the world.
Right? If you only slept 2 hours tonight, how do you suppose you'd feel tomorrow morning? If you only slept 2 hours tonight, how do you suppose you'd feel tomorrow morning? If I only
If I
slept
only
two
slept
hours tonight,
2 hours
I
tonight,
suppose I'd
I
feel
suppose
very
I'd
tired
feel very
tomorrow
tired
morning.
tomorrow morning.
Reggie, supposing today were Sunday, where'd you be now? Supposing today were Sunday, where'd you be now? Supposing today were
Supposing
Sunday,
today
were Sunday. One
was
more.
a Sunday.
Supposing today were
Supposing today
Sunday,
was
I'd
Sunday,
be
I'd be at home now.
very good. Supposing you lost your passport, what would you do? Supposing you lost your passport, what would you do? Supposing I lost
Supposing
my
I
passport,
lost my
I'd
passport,
immediately
I'd
tell the police.
immediately tell the police.
Very good. Okay, next. Does it get hotter and hotter as we go towards the north of Europe? Does it get hotter and hotter as we go towards the north of Europe? No, it
No,
doesn't
it
get
doesn't
hotter
get
and hotter
hotter and
as
hotter
we go
as we
towards
go
the north of
towards
Europe.
the north
It
of
gets
Europe.
colder
It
and
gets
colder.
colder and colder.
Do people usually become richer and richer as they become older? Do people usually become richer and richer as they become older? Yes, people
Yes,
usually
people
become
usually
richer and
become
richer
richer
as
and
they become
richer as
older.
they become older
Why? Why? Because they
because
usually
they
earn more and
usually earn
more
more
money.
and more money.
Where does good wine usually become cheaper and cheaper as it becomes older? Does good wine usually become cheaper and cheaper as it becomes older? No, good wine
No,
doesn't
good
usually
wine
become
doesn't
cheaper
usually
and
become
cheaper
cheaper and
as it
cheaper
becomes
as
older.
it can become
It
older.
usually
It
becomes
usually
more and more
become
expensive.
more and more expensive.
Where how long does it take you to get ready to go out in the morning? How long does it take you to get ready to go out in the morning? It takes me
It
about
takes me about an hour and a
to
half
get ready
to
to
get
go out
ready
in the
to
morning.
go out in the morning.
Ragged, when do you think you'll be ready to take the exam at the end of this book? When do you think you'll be ready to take the exam at the end of this book? I think I'll be
I
ready
think
to
I'll be
take the
ready
exam
to take the
at the
exam
end of this
at
book
the end of this
in
book
about.
in about 4 weeks in time.
Very good. Are you always ready to lend people money? Are you always ready to lend people money? Yes or no?
No,
I'm not
I'm
always
not
ready
always
to lend
ready to
people money.
lend people money.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, next. Do you think most people are ready for marriage when they are 18 years old? Do you think most people are ready for marriage when they are 18 years old? Yes or no? I
No,
don't think
I don't
most
think
people are
most
ready
people
for
are ready
marriage when they
for
are
marriage when they
18 years
are
old.
18 years old.
Very good. If the government of your country decided to build a new national sports stadium, whereabouts do you think it should be? If the government of your country decided to build a new national sports stadium, whereabouts do you think it should be? If the
If
government of
the
my
government
country
of my
decided
country
to
decided
build a
to
new
build a new
national sports stadium,
national sports
I think it
stadium,
should
I
be
think it
in
should be in Tokyo.
Tokyo again. Okay. Describe someone you know, please. Describe someone you know, please. I'll describe
I
my.
describe my brother. He has short hair and he's fat.
Very good. Just like me. Okay. Describe the place where you live. Describe the place where you live. The place where I
The
live
place
is
I live is there are many houses and very quiet.
very good. Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm
I'm
describing the place
describing
where I
the
live.
place where I live.
Very good. Do you think it's a good enough description? Do you think it's a good enough description? Yes or no? I
No,
don't
I
think
don't
it's a
think
good
it's
enough
a good
description.
enough description.
Because it's just brief. Okay. Is it correct to say the book was writing by him? Is it correct to say the book was writing by him? No, it
No,
isn't
it
correct
isn't
to
correct
say the
to
book
say
was
the
writing
book
by him.
was writing by
We must
him.
say the book
We
was
must say the
written by
book
him.
was written by him.
Is it correct that 4 plus 5 equals 11? Is it correct that 4 plus 5 equals 11? No, it
No,
isn't
it
correct
isn't
that
correct.
4 plus
For
5
the 4 plus 5
equals
equals
11.
11.
It's incorrect.
It's incorrect.
Very good. Okay, what did you do as soon as you came into the room? What did you do as soon as you came into the classroom? I sat down as
I
soon
sat
as
down
I
as soon
came
as I came
into
into
the.
the classroom.
Very good. What will you do as soon as the lesson is over? What will you do as soon as the lesson is over? I'll stand up, go
I
home,
stand up, go
etc.
home,
As soon
etc.
as the
as
lesson is
as the
over.
lesson is over.
Very good. Okay. When you lend something like money, for example, do you prefer the other person to give it back on a certain date or just as soon as possible? When you lend something like money, for example, do you prefer the other person to give it back on a certain date or just as soon as possible? When I lend something
When I
like
lend
money,
something
for
like
example,
money, for
I
example,
prefer the
I
other person
prefer the
to
other
give it
person to
back.
give it back just as soon as possible.
Very good. Who's the strangest person you know? Who's the strangest person you know? The
The
strangest person
strangest
I know
person I
is.
know is my brother.
Oh, very good. Okay, so that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word. Okay, so repeat they
They
equals he or she.
equals he or she.
Very good. Okay, listen. We sometimes use the word they, them, there, etc., to talk about just one person when we don't know if the person is a man or a woman. We don't know the gender. For example, there is somebody in the next room, so we can't see, and they are making a lot of noise. I'm going to ask them to be quieter, even though he's just one. Okay, let's practice. When do we use the words they, them, etc. to talk about just one person? When do we use the words they, them, etc. to talk about just one person? We use the
We
words
use
they,
the words
them,
they,
etc.
them,
to talk
etc.
about
to
just one
talk
person
about just
when
one
we don't
person
know
when we
if the
don't know
person is
if
a
the
man
person
or a
is a
woman.
man or a woman.
If someone lost their passport, what advice you give them? If someone lost their passport, what advice would you give them? If someone
If
lost their passport,
someone lost their
I tell
passport,
them
I
that
tell
they should
them that
immediately
they should
go to the
immediately
police.
go to the police.
Very good. Okay, next repeat is shut.
Shut,
Shut up.
shut up.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word shut is a verb. It means to close. For example, I close the book after I've read it, or I shut the book after I've read it. The verb to shut up means the same as to be quiet, but is much less polite, and we generally use it when we're angry. Let's practice. What verb can we use instead of the verb to close? What verb can we use instead of the verb to close? We can use
We
the
can
verb to
use
shut
the verb to
instead
shut
of the verb to
instead of
close.
the verb to close.
Right? If some friends were talking loudly while you were trying to study, what would you say? If some friends were talking loudly while you were trying to study, what would you say? If some friends
If
were
some
talking
friends
loudly
are talking
while I
loudly
was trying
while
to
I
study,
was trying to
I'd
study,
say, could you
I'd
be
say,
quiet, please?
could you be quiet, please?
Very good. And if they carried on talking loudly even after that, what might you then say? And if they carried on talking loudly even after that, what might they say? If they carried on
If they
talking
carry on
loudly
talking
even
loudly, even
after that,
if after
I
that,
might then say,
I might then
shut
say,
up.
"Shut up."
Very good. Next, choose.
Tooth.
Very good with the letter C. Choose.
Choose.
Okay, listen. The word choose is a verb. So to choose means to decide which one of the number of things or people you want. For example, I always choose my clothes myself. If I had to choose between having £10,000 now or £40,000 in 10 years' time, I choose to have £10,000 now because I need the money for my studies now. Okay, let's practice. Do you always choose your clothes yourself, or does someone else ever help you to choose them? Do you always choose your clothes yourself, or does someone else ever help you to choose them? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I
always
always
my
choose
clothes
my clothes
myself.
myself.
Wait, if you had to choose between having £10,000 now or £40,000 in 10 years' time, which would you choose? If you had to choose between having £10,000 now or £40,000 in 10 years' time, which would you choose? If I had to
If I
choose
had to
between
choose
having
between having
£10,000 now
10,000
or
pounds now or
£40,000 in 10
40,000
years'
pounds
time,
in 10
I
years'
choose to
time,
have
I choose to have a £10,000
£1,000 now.
pound now
Why? Why? Because
because I need money now.
correct. Very good choice. Excellent. Next, repeat. Recognize.
Recognize.
Very good. Okay, listen. The word recognize is a verb. It means to know and remember someone or something. For example, I think I'd be able to recognize you if we met each other again in 30 years' time. Okay, let's practice. Do you think you'd be able to recognize me if we met each other again in 30 years' time? Do you think you'd be able to recognize me if we met each other again in 30 years' time? Yes or no? I
Yes,
think
I
I'd be
think
able
I be able
to
to
recognize you
recognize
if we
you
met each
if we
other again
met each other
in
again
30
in
years' time.
30 years time.
Very good. Would you say you were good at recognizing people after not having seen them for several years? Would you say you were good at recognizing people after not having seen them for several years? Yes or no?
Yes,
I'd say I
I
was good
think
at
I would
recognizing people.
I
I'd
I
say
was. I'd
I
say
was good at
I was good
recognizing
at
people
recognizing
after not
people
having seen
after
them
not
for
having seen
several
them
years.
for several years time.
Very good.
Several years.
Several years. Very good. Next repeat. Rather.
Rather,
Very good. Okay, listen. The word rather is an adverb. It means quite or more than a little, but less than very. For example, I'd say you spoke English quite well now. Or I'd say you spoke English rather well now. Okay, let's practice. Would you say you spoke English rather well now? Would you say you spoke English rather well now? Yes, I'd say
yes,
I spoke
I say I
English
spoke
rather well
English
now.
rather well now.
Very good. Next, would rather.
Would rather.
Very good. Would rather. Okay. Listen, would rather means the same as would prefer. Would rather, would prefer. The difference is that we put the infinitive without to after would rather, whereas we put the infinitive with to after would prefer. Okay, let's practice. What can we say instead of I would prefer to drink tea? What can we say instead of I would prefer to drink tea? We can say
We
I would
can say
rather
I
drink
would
tea
rather drink
instead
tea
of I
instead
would
of I
prefer
would
to drink tea.
prefer to drink tea.
Right? Would you rather have a cold drink than a hot drink at the moment? Would you rather have a cold drink than a hot drink at the moment? Yes or no?
No,
I wouldn't rather
would
have
I wouldn't rather
a
have
cold drink
a
than a
cold
hot drink
drink than a
at the
hot
moment.
drink at the moment.
Very good. Which would you rather do this evening? Read a book, watch television, or go to the cinema? Which would you rather do this evening? Read a book, watch television, or go to the cinema? I'd rather
I'd rather watch TV
than read a book
than read a book,
or go to the
go
cinema
or go to
this evening.
cinema this evening.
Very good. Would you rather go on a long flight or a long train journey? Would you rather go on a long flight or a long train journey? I'd rather go
I'd rather go
on a
uh, on a
on a long flight or a long.
long flight.
Very good. One more. I'd rather go
I'd
on a
rather
long
go
flight
on a long
than
flight
a long train
than
journey.
long train journey.
Very good. Next, repeat fate with the
Fate,
letter A, with the letter F. Fate.
fate,
Christian.
faith, Christian.
Very good. Okay, listen. Faith. The word faith is a noun. It means a strong feeling of trust or confidence in someone or something. For example, I believe in everything my father tells me. I have faith in my father. Christian is a noun. It is a person who believes in the ideas taught by Jesus Christ. For example, most people here in the Philippines are Christians. We believe in Christ and we pray and go to church every Sunday. The Christian faith is about 2,000 years old. Okay, let's practice. Do you have very much faith in your government? Do you have very much faith in your government? Yes or no?
No,
I don't have
I
very
don't
much
have
faith
very
in
much
my
faith
government.
in my government.
About how old is the Christian faith? About how old is the Christian faith? The Christian faith
The
is
Christian
about
faith is
2,000
about
years old.
2000 years old.
Very good. Next, let's talk about will and to be going to. Okay,
Will and to be going to.
very good. So, repeat the
Predict,
prediction,
prediction,
just this moment.
just this moment.
Very good. Okay, listen. The two common ways to talk about the future are I will go to London tomorrow. That's future simple. And I am going to go to London tomorrow. That is using to be going to. These different forms communicate different ideas. One common use of the future simple is to communicate that we have just this moment decided to do something. For example, if I say it's getting cold, I'll close the window. I am communicating that I have just this moment decided to close the window because it's getting cold. We can also use the future simple to make prediction. For example, if I say to a friend, don't worry about your exam tomorrow, I'm sure it will be easy. I am making a prediction that the exam will be easy. Okay, so let's practice. Tell me one common use of the future simple. Tell me one common use of the future simple, please. One common use
One
of the
common
future simple.
one
One
common
one common use
use
of the future
of
simple
the future
is to
simple
communicate
is to
that we
communicate
have
that
just
we
this
have
moment
just this moment
decided to do
decided
something.
to do something.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. Sorry, I forgot to
Sorry,
bring
I forgot
the
to
money for
bring
you.
the money for
I'll bring
you.
it tomorrow. I
I'll bring
promise.
it tomorrow, I promise.
Very good. Tell me another common use of the future simple. Tell me another common use of the future simple, please. Another common use
Another
of
common
the
use
future
of
simple
the future
is to
simple
make a
is
prediction.
to make a prediction.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. I can't remember what she
I
looks
can't
like,
remember what she
but
looks
I'm
like,
sure
but I'm
I'll
sure
recognize her
I'll recognize
when I
her
see her.
when I see her.
Very good. Okay, next. Let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, so our reading is at stage 5, paragraph page 341, 341, and our last head word was avoid. Okay, please start at head word bend.
Okay. Bend. Do you have to bend down if you want to touch your feet? No, I don't have to bend down if I want to touch my